Nothing repels women more than neediness. So when you haven't had any attention from women for a while, it can put you into this negative spiral where it becomes harder and harder to get a date with a woman. In this video, we'll go over some practical tips to help you end your dry spell with female attention. And by the way, if you have no interest whatsoever in casual dating and hookup culture, if you just want to find a wife, this information will also help you and still applies to you. First of all, don't fall into the habit of habitually masturbating and watching porn all the time. This will sap your energy, sap your drive, your ambition, your motivation, and those are the exact motivations and drives you need to be presenting in order to attract a woman in the first place. Think of it this way, like masturbation and pornography consumption dulls you as a man. It sedates you as a man. If you're interested in actually attracting a woman, then this is absolutely the worst habit you could possibly cultivate. Don't let your lack of a sex life or lack of female attention dictate your self-esteem and self-worth. This is not a yardstick you should be measuring yourself by. The notches on your bedpost do not matter when it comes to your self-esteem and your self-image and your confidence as a man. Your self-esteem needs to be dictated internally through your own values, your own core values. So let's say you're not the most accomplished of men, right? Let's say you don't have a long history of achievements and accomplishments to pull on when it comes to building your confidence and your self-esteem. Just the simple act of taking daily consistent action towards your goals or towards improving yourself can be a foundation for massive self-esteem and confidence. Number 3, don't crave in to the temptation and text that toxic ex of yours. You broke up with her for a reason. Too many guys fall into this habit. They give into the temptation, and even though she treated him like shit, maybe she cheated on him, maybe she was like lying to him and just ruining his life, they'll still fall into the habit of just getting back with the ex because it's the easy thing to do. Don't fall for this temptation. You'll thank yourself in the long run later. Pick up some proactive, healthy socializing habits instead. Things like MMA gyms, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gyms, boxing gyms, where you have to interact with other people. You will be doing sparring and things like that. It's kind of forced social interaction, and we want you to continuously build and exercise that social muscle that you have. Otherwise, if you neglect that, it's going to deteriorate and become weak, just like any other muscle in your body. I want you to think of socializing as a muscle in your brain. The more ways you can put yourself into social interactions and social situations are gonna train that muscle and strengthen that muscle, right? Maybe you're into motorcycles. Maybe you go and you join like a motorcycle club. Not a motorcycle gang, that's different, but a motorcycle club where you go on joyrides and stuff together. Maybe you join a hiking club where you go on hikes together. You kind of want to find this balance of social clubs and networking events where you can practice strengthening that social muscle whilst also opening up the opportunity to expose yourself to women. I mean, expose yourself socially, not expose yourself the illegal way. Now you have the possibility of women actually being interested in you just by virtue of you being around them more. This next one is a fantastic piece of advice, and it's something I recommend to every guy who is struggling with this problem. And that is a concept called throwaway compliments. Okay, from now on, whenever you see a old lady, an ugly woman, a fat woman, basically any woman that you have no interest whatsoever in, I want you to give that woman a compliment. Just a throwaway compliment. You don't want anything back. You're not even looking to start a conversation. I like those shoes. They look really great on you. Your hair looks fantastic today. Just something. Throw it out there. So, something that's going to make her day, and just carry on with your day. The purpose of this is, one, it's exercising that social muscle, but we're exercising it towards women, right? We're making it not intimidating and scary and nervous or anxious because we're not interested in that woman. There's zero attraction to that woman. We would put that woman in a friend zone, right? We don't care. So there's no pressure. We've put no pressure on ourselves. We're now teaching our brain to associate saying something nice to a woman with zero pressure and zero anxiety, right? The other thing we're doing is you're going to make her feel great. You're doing this in a non-creepy way. You're just like, you look awesome. Have a great day. Carry on. Try and commit to this for like the next 2 weeks. Just do this every single day for the next 2 weeks. Do it at least twice a day and see how you feel at the end of those 2 weeks. See how much more naturally social you've become as well. I think you'll be quite impressed with the results. Now, a wife or a girlfriend is not going to just magically fall out of the sky. So you have to fish in the right pond. If you don't know what you're even looking for in the first place, you can't find it. So you need to be very, very clear on what your criteria are for a woman. You can get super specific too. You might have a checklist of like 30 things, 20, 30 things. Doesn't mean she has to meet every single bit of that criteria, right? But at least it gives you a target to aim for. So she might be a certain religion, she might be from a certain cultural background, she might have certain interests and hobbies. I'd recommend saying have a good relationship with her father. Get very specific about the criteria you want in a woman. And then reverse engineer where that woman would hang out. What kind of social events she would go to. What kind of places she would frequent. Is she a Starbucks girl? Is she a Whole Foods girl? Does she go to church regularly? What are the social places outside of her house where she is probably likely to frequent? Because we've already developed this social muscle, you could start chit-chatting and engaging with women in those locations. And also, I think you have a better probability of finding a good woman out in the real world rather than relying on things like dating apps. Even though a lot of people meet their partner these days on dating apps, it's a bit harder for the average guy to even get attention on a dating app. However, when you're there face-to-face talking to a woman, that's it. It's just you and her. She ain't comparing you to the 50 other dudes she swiped because you're the only guy there in front of her talking to her. You can actually charm a woman. You can actually give your best impression. You can put your best foot forward when you're right there in front of her. By virtue of just talking to a woman face-to-face in 2024, you are standing out from the crowd because dudes don't do that anymore. However, if you do want to try your luck on dating apps, there's a couple of quick pointers I will throw out there. 1, Sundays and Mondays between 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. That is your prime time for swiping and setting up dates for the rest of the week. Those are for some reason, those are the periods of the week where women tend to be on dating apps and bored and lonely and looking for someone to ask them out for the rest of the week. If you're sitting there horny on a Friday and Saturday night, like trying to swipe and get a quick hookup, it's not really gonna work that well. As quickly as possible, convert that match into a date. Like set something up ASAP as quickly as possible to get her off the app. Get her number, get her Instagram, get her off the app, and then get her into the real world where you can actually meet her and make a good impression. Otherwise, you're still gonna be competing against all these other guys on that app for all of her attention. The other thing I'll say is learn to take good photos. Like most guys cannot pose for a start. I'm not too bad at posing. I know a few of my friends are quite good at posing, but we've been photographed for quite a long time, a number of years. We've learned how to pose well in photos so we present our best image, right? Most guys can't do that. Most guys just look like a robot when they try to do that. They look like a robot. If you have a photographer friend, or you might just rent one for the days, get a photographer to follow you and your buddies around for an evening or two or a weekend or something while you're doing activities, while you're having a good time with your friends, get a photographer to catch you in the moment, like just these candid shots where you're not looking at the camera but you're talking with people or you're smiling or laughing at something. These candid shots are really good. They come across as the most authentic. They display part of your personality. The average guy who's not used to taking photos is going to look way better in a candid moment photo than he is going to look trying to pose. Now, once you do get women's attention again, I don't want you to screw it up. So here's a video over here. It goes over a few things that guys do that really turn women off. So check that out, and hopefully that will improve your chances even better.